What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Bear Dog back with another video. Unfortunately, not much to talk about on the Giants front. There really hasn't been a lot to talk about on the Giants front because we're not playing anybody and there's no preseason games to talk about. We don't really know what's going on in training camp and everything else because it's just been a very hectic and weird 2020 season. And speaking of which, obviously there's been reports out today that the Big Ten was going to go ahead and cancel their NCAA season. Now, there's been a couple of FBS schools that have decided they weren't going to do it, some Ivy League schools, etc., etc. This was the first of the Power 5 conferences to say they weren't going to play a season, or at least not until next spring. I mean, that's been discussed as well. Now, the original report said that the Big Ten was canceling, and then there was reports saying that that was just a preliminary vote and that 12 of the 14 schools voted to not have football in 2020. Now, what does this mean for the rest of the Power 5? I mean, who knows? My man Uncle Lou said it best when he said, usually it's the most difficult thing to do something first. But after somebody does it, it makes it easier for the rest of everybody else to follow. So obviously, if the Big Ten does go ahead and cancels their season, you could see a domino effect in which the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, and the Pac-12 all close their seasons as well. And that would be, a shame, obviously. I mean, I'm not as big of a college football fan as my guy, Uncle Lou, is. I mean, he lives, eats, and breathes college football, which is why I always go to his channel when I want to know anything about college football. But, what does it mean for the NFL? I mean, I'm still a huge college football fan. I love watching college football. I'm not just a Sooners fan. I love watching the SEC. I think they're the best conference. I like watching Clemson. I like watching good players, and I like to know who's going to come out in the draft because, let's face it, the Giants haven't been good, so I always look at these best players and go, we need to get him. I just love watching college football. I mean, I could sit on my couch all Saturday. I used to do this. I can't really do it with a 3-year-old anymore, but I used to just sit on my couch from noon until like 1 in the morning watching college football. Because I could literally do that every Saturday in the fall. I could sit there and I could just have a couple cold beverages and relax and watch some great football. And that was always a lot of fun to me. So obviously, if there's no college football season, that would not be good. That would suck. I mean, let's just face it. What does it mean for the NFL? Now, I mentioned this before once the MAC canceled, and I had somebody on my page, the NFL is not going to do that. It's going to cost them billions of dollars. Or don't act like postponing a college football season ain't going to cost these schools millions of dollars or billions of dollars, man. There's a lot of money that goes into college football, so it's not like they wouldn't be losing money either. And when it comes down to it, money's not going to be the end-all, be-all for the NFL, man. It's about the players' safety and their family's safety. This is not a money thing. As bad as this sucks and as bad as we all want football to happen, there's a good possibility that it does not. Baseball's hanging on by a thread. This is the most socially distant sport you're going to see. Baseball players are not in contact with each other on every single play. Well, guess what? In football, they are. And yeah, baseball probably could have done a better job. They could have been in a bubble like the NBA and the NHL, but let's face it, I've discussed this numerous times. Rob Manfred is a disgraceful commissioner, as is Roger Goodell. They're both terrible. The NFL has had the most time to figure out what they want to do, and they still don't know what they're going to do. So, if the NCAA decides that they're going to postpone the season or cancel the season, it certainly doesn't look good for the NFL because, again, on every single play, you got guys in contact with one another, and the name of the game is contact. It's what draws us to the NFL outside of the betting, which I think draws more than everybody else to football, is the money that goes into the betting part of it. But let's face it, anytime we're watching football and we see a really hard hit, we all jump up in our seats and go, ooh, we love that contact. That is what it's all about. There's no way to social distance on a football field. They're not. They're not going to play in masks. They're not going to do all this now. Oh, you can wear face shields. It doesn't matter, man. The NFL teams, the rosters, the coaching staff, the trainers, they're enormous. That is a big group of people, and then you put it together with another big group of people on the field, like I said, where there's a bunch of contact going on, man. It takes one person to get sick. And what if an NFL team ends up with 38 cases? I mean, what do they do? Do they forfeit their game? Do they postpone their game? You're going to push games back into March and April, kind of like, not that baseball's done that, but baseball plays every day. Football doesn't do that. So baseball can push it back a little bit and play a doubleheader. You're not going to play a doubleheader in football. So baseball can kind of get away with this if they do have to push games back a little bit by making teams play 2 games in one day. That's been done since the inception of baseball. And it used to be done a lot more frequently. So I don't know, man. What does it mean for the NFL if the NCAA cancels football? As always, I'd love to hear your opinions in the comment section, so let me know, guys. And if there is no NFL season, what are we going to do? Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they figure out. Hopefully we have an NFL season and we can play it all the way through, because that's another thing that could possibly happen as they get started and then this thing breaks out and then they have to cancel the season. It's going to be difficult, but I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section as always. Thank you for watching. It's the Bad Diggity Dizzle and I'm gone. Peace!